Welcome to the world united. Welcome to the world united.
A very deep question. How are we going to fix it as versus how are we going to
have this work for everyone?
Wow.
Right. And it's very subtle, because we're not saying how are we going to make this work for everyone, which requires effort and work in the how are we going to make this work. So there's work there, right? So in the way that we say it and the way we relate to it is, how can we have this work? Which is interesting, because just staying in that intent naturally starts to reshape the conversations. People pick up on the energy of it and they start thinking about each other differently. And it starts to work for everyone. And that's how quantum think works. Quantum think works through the intent that you're functioning from, not what you do. Because in quantum think, we make the overarching distinction of quantum think is what we call old world view, new world view. Old world view points to that the earlier science, the Newtonian science, the laws and principles of that science have found their way into society. They shape what we do. They shape all the inventions of the time, and they shape how we think and how we speak, what we think is possible, what we think isn't. And this old world view, this Newtonian world view, is essentially going away. And the quantum world view is coming into existence. So we could say that in the old world view, the Newtonian world view, the fundamental principle of that is that reality is circumstantial. Circumstance rules. If you can fix the circumstance, change the circumstance, get the circumstance lined up perfectly to what your picture of it should be, then everything is going to turn out great, which it doesn't. But we still function from that. In the quantum world view, because it's energy and it's always moving, never static. The old world view, the Newtonian world view, deals with things that are physical and static. That's why it gave us the industrial age. So we can move these fixed, static objects, right? New world, energy in flux. It's moving all the time. So we say, one of the sort of overarching statements here is, in the old world view, circumstance rules. New world view, intent rules. Because intent influences how we think. It influences other people all the time. They pick up on your energy. They're relating more to your energy than actually what you're saying. And this is really important because, even in the business world, what I hear is when somebody produces a really great result, and you probably experienced this yourself, when somebody does something really great and produces an outstanding result, the first thing you hear from their colleagues or their boss or whoever they're working with there is, what did you do? They don't say to them, how are you thinking?
Absolutely. You have zeroed in on that.
Right. And so that's what we're trained in. This is the old world view has trained us to look at actions as the source of the result. And it is not the source of the result. It is a component of the result, but it's not the source. The source is what you're thinking. Everything that was ever created by human beings on this planet since the beginning of time began with a thought. There are no random thoughts. Everything is connected. And so thought is what got everything going in the first place. And then from the thoughts, people created plans and they got people involved with them and they got more committed to it and they put all the pieces in place and they took all the appropriate actions, which did in fact lead to the result. But it didn't start with the actions. It began with a thought. And that's why we focus on thoughts. We focus on how people are thinking. We don't focus on their actions, because we know that their actions are going to be in a perfect correlation to their thinking, like the mirror.
Yeah, thank you so much, Alan. Whatever you said, I feel that I see the resonance of your words in so many incidences. Like, there are a lot of people who want to be rich, or they want to do certain things, and they will go and pick up a book by that author, by someone. For example, if they want to be a millionaire or a billionaire,
Right.
they're going to find a book written by a billionaire and his life. And then they're like, okay, you know what? He went to this college, he did this. And, as if it's like all the steps, like if I have the steps of this chemical reaction, I can just produce it in my own life. So my past is in chemistry, so I'm bringing the chemistry analogy, but they literally seem to think, and you have articulated it much better than me, that they feel that if I go through all these steps, this is the product I'm going to have, but they almost forget that they're not the same reactant.
That's right. That's right. And that's very important that you bring that up, because when it's a concept. If you read a book, it's just a concept of somebody's experience. The person in the experience, they were thinking about this. It was inside of them. They were in what we call participatory knowing. They were participating consciously with the outcome. They were in the experience of that they knew how to do it and that they could do it. And they did do it, and they were successful of it. But when they repeated it in the form of a book or an article, it now becomes a concept. And people read that as if that was the source. Right. That's not the source. The source was that person. If the source actually, this is why we say in quantum thinkers, another distinction is we call the art of distinguishing, a new world view of learning. If you can distinguish what you do, like I did with my ability to recreate what people wanted, because I was in that experience, I was able to recreate that experience in what I do today, which is very different than hairdressing. Very different. I mean, different in that hairdressing is working on people's beauty on the outside. What I do now as a quantum think coach and consultant is work on the beauty on the inside.
Beautiful way of putting that.
Right? But it's still that but I'm able to recreate it because I'm not recreating my actions. I'm recreating the original thought. And that's the difference. And, like, what is it I really want? I'm in that question. I know how powerful that question is. So the longer I stay in that thought of, what do I really want, the clearer I'm going to get on what I really want. Not what I think I want, what I really want. And this is actually how it works. So if somebody can distinguish, if somebody reads the book written by the billionaire or the millionaire, and that person is able to distinguish what actually was going on for that person, there is a good chance they could recreate it and become very successful themselves.